Bound by Fate and Blood by Jenna O'Malley. The Merna Annals, Book 1. Chapter 5. Christian. Dios mio. I might regret using this spell later. Maria's hands calibrated odd patterns in midair. With her snap, Christian felt the bruises reverse engineer. The stitches in his calf remained, as if her energy could not heal his deepest wound beyond a few weeks of repair. Her chanting gave way to the room's question. When did this news arrive? Murakawa and Harumi verified Frey's reports. Abraxas instructed Lee to move out to the next outpost. Nephtyri replied in a businesslike tone Christian appreciated. Her hair coiled into a braid that encircled the top of her head, like a crown set for a battle upon an ancient princess's brow. She wore a man's riding outfit tailored to avoid hindering movement. The fabric accentuated her delicious curves as she prepared to flee. With a neutral tone, she spoke. Well done with this one. Maria giggled. He slept long enough, which makes healing easier. Frey wasn't kind, though. Both are the same with grief, I am certain, but he swatted her away. I am not an animal on auction to discuss. She chuckled, a delectable chime his ears didn't realize they ever craved, nor did he understand why. He wouldn't mind hearing more. Flustered, he reviewed her muddied boots and thought, where has she been? How late into the night is it? Baron, please forgive us. We do not have time. When Nephtyri offered him an upward-turned palm, he glared in reply. Rising to his feet without her help, his leg complained without bearing his full weight. Maria sighed in what sounded like defeat when he limped a step or two. We are not as prepared as we hoped. With hunters cutting us off, I cannot sustain a supply line. Nephtyri replied, You did better than you allow yourself credit. We should move. A generous pallet of tapestry covering a wall by the bed shuffled aside with a snap. He wasn't surprised when a door opened behind the worn weavings. His childhood home in Scotland had similar escape routes, and he added 3 to Sinclair Manor. Inside a hidden stairwell, Nephtyri led them to the turret's secret chambers. Whenever Christian attempted to speak, one of them shushed him. They entered in silence, and the door closed without a sound. Both females faced it and cast a spell in unison. His nose clogged with congestion, as if the pressure changed to match. Maria moved in flashes through the room to gather whatever unsealed potion bottles she touched. I assume our Lee travels to Canterbury. Someone must alert Madame Malice, Nephtyri called from the inside of a trunk with fabric and books flying out of her hands. Frustrated, she vanished and reappeared next to the bedside table to rip its drawers asunder. Is the lusty strumpet safe and large enough to house us? Maria asked, and Nephtyri's reply faded into the background. They don't pay me any mind, Christian thought, and he sank next to a table covered with maps. He tuned the females out to assess his options. If they intended to spirit him away from the human world, he wasn't going to go willingly. Mentally, he noted, I'll consider other options after I reach the manor. If this is an elaborate ruse, then it shall be a story for the ages. Government officials and their poisonous ilk across the miles be damned. Spain could be the ones to blame if Godolphin's negotiations botched. Wait. Is that this safe house's mark on that map? Horseback would aid in timely travel. Can I make it to Richard's stables from here if I go that way? An open window allowed night air to flow through the Shifera's private chambers. He seized the opportunity. Slight hands gripped a dagger, plunged into the floor next to the table. Nephtyri spun at the sound of metal whooshing and ringing through the air. She casted an expert deflection maneuver, as did Maria, but the distraction provided what Christian needed. They cursed as he plummeted into the coastal waters below the wide-open window. Follow him! Nephtyri's howl ripped through the ending night and chased Christian as he surfaced. Grasping for air, he swam ashore. The chilly water shocked his leg, and sea salt burned his wound into a lasting scar. Cursing from the pain, his long arms and right leg powered him through the rough current and the biting temperature. Upon reaching shore, he did not stop or look back. By Jesus, Mary, and the donkey, please let Anakrina be there. Please let her be alive. Father, look after them until I can see them again, wherever you are in the next life. He recognized the oncoming trees and thanked his father for hammering, navigating, mapping, and tracking skills into him at an early age. After reaching the main road, he ripped off his boots and threw them in wide, opposite-facing arcs. Without a sound, they landed in brush and mud. He rolled through a puddle to cover his scent. He ran hard and would reach the barn of his childhood friend, Richard Fergus. A black beast that descended from Scottish stock like its runaway jockey ripped through the back door soon after. Christian rode the beast bare and hard to London. He thought we should reach Sinclair Manor by dusk. Riding through the woods better be worth evading both sides of father's hell. If that Hunters Guild nonsense was true, then they could ride the road to seek me as their heir or as a bargaining tool. Anna, was that dream your farewell forever? Will I see you again? Stop it! She'll be there! Anna doesn't go anywhere without Ian, and she, certain as sunshine, doesn't die first. The smell of residual ash and charred flesh intermixing with the sea breeze scorched his nose. He longed to deny the sight of a half-destroyed frame replacing memories of Sinclair Manor, but he couldn't fool himself. Dropping from the horse and running through the front gates after tumbling, he roared, "Anna Karina! Answer me now, lassie! Ronan, where are you?" He bolted to where the kitchen entrance once stood, wondering if they took shelter in the cellars his father built, covered by collapsed debris. The door was intact. Ignoring his exhaustion and the pain in his leg, he ripped layers of fallen debris away. Clearing the entry led him to an empty room. Moonlight streamed across the horizon outside. "Ronan! Mother! Anna! Lassie, answer me!" Falling to his knees on the filthy ground, he sobbed into the pit of his abdomen. Shaking, he accepted what happened to him, to his family. Slamming a hard fist into the stone with the desire for vengeance hurt less than what he deserved, but the sound of metal jangling against the dirt stopped him. "It's gone. Everyone. The title, the house, everything." He didn't care how long he stayed on the cold ground with tears running down his face or how grief consumed him. A coy, purring coo of fur nuzzling against his side did little to jar him from internal drifting. When it happened again, with added pressure, he stirred to more moonlight. When did I fall asleep? Feline, soft mules followed, a wet nose rubbing his ear. He scooted away and covered his head. The manor housed many cats for mice management, and he didn't intend to feed them. "To the woods with you!" The midnight ball of fluff with piercing emerald eyes ground in a head-to-toe body rub against his face. The stare demanded he stop playing a fool and move. "I said to the woods with you!" Rolling again to the open door and away from the cat brought him face to face with a menacing figure he didn't recognize. "Baron Sinclair, you've returned." In the moonlight, Christian saw the Hunter's Guild crest, a hammer wrapped in a tri-tipped whip on the man's lapel. Fury brought his blood to boiling. "Damn you!" Springing into action without a weapon was unwise, even if he had killed 3 people with his bare hands. In his mind, he had one more option ahead of his rock-bottom location. Upward and better. Death would prove a welcome release if he failed. The black cat screech joined his battle cry, and it leaped at the second wave of Hunter's Guildsmen. In a flurry of swipes, it shifted into a human-looking female. Like the vampire She-Fera, she sported long, almost pitch-black hair. Robes from the farthest reaches of the Silk Roads wrapped her body in shades of dark red and black. As if dancing through the battlefield, she maintained cat-like reflexes. "She's not one of those vampires, but what is she?" he thought. The first assailant fell as Christian's knee landed on a flaccid crotch, and he twisted a hunter's neck. She passed him the sword of a fallen enemy, followed by the firearm from a double hilt at her waistline. "Harumi?" Her back pressed to his. "Yes, Baron. She-Fera sent me." Growling under his breath in Gallic, he cocked the firearm and charged forward. "Of course she did. Reinforcements are on the way, as of when?" "I signaled Frey an hour ago," Harumi replied. "And if I refuse to return?" Without hesitation, Christian spun the blade overhead to guard their flank against a hunter, and Harumi slashed the final blow. She launched both daggers through the air as part of a deadly follow-through. Singing metal lodged into more necks, and 4 bodies slumped to the ground at once. She admitted, "I have been given Vamshia, a decree by my She-Fera to take you back, even if unconscious." Describing how she planned to pull off the task went unneeded, and she could do it without his consent or protest. No matter how much stronger he deemed himself, this shape-shifting feline could serve his behind to Spain. He couldn't fight magic, and he couldn't survive this night without hers at his side. The hunters resumed their charge, and Harumi blended into the shadows as if dancing. Stepping up to match a new wave increased Christian's heart rate to override his handicaps and exhaustion. Old habits empowered him to fight, to live, or to die. Giving in to vengeful sorrow made aligning with his captors instead of their slavers a simplistic choice. "Why would they want me to rule as the guild heir when they killed my family?" Christian thought, and swallowed the lump in his throat. "The Hunters Guild can't expect much from me as a leader when by association it would place my family's blood on my hands." "Focus, good Baron," Harumi's voice sung sweetly in his ear. "They would destroy you, as they have so many before you on all sides of this accursed war." Her song inspired him for battle's final stage. He cocked the hammer as an automatic instinct after firing a shot. They spilled through the doorway, and a handful of hunters waited on the other side. They did not see an enclosing flank on 2 sides beyond the trees and brush. "Look," Harumi said. A silvery curtain of hair slipped through the leaves. Frey stood out among the crowd of vampires and other beings pinching in as reinforcements. The battle's end came fast and was over in seconds. Hunters dropped to the ground, leaving allies gasping. "Harumi!" A man with dark hair raced toward them. Not a man. One of those blood-craving demons, Christian thought, plunging the tip of his blade into the dirt. He grabbed Harumi's arm and yanked her spine to his chest. She didn't yelp when the business end of a pistol leveled against her temple.